morning, my friends. Hope you're having your great little morning coffee or tea or drink or water or whatever it is that you enjoy first thing in the morning. I'm Manny Rodriguez. Thank you for joining me this morning. So excited to be here. And of course, as usual, our goal is to help you stay on top of the news and updates that matter around the world. And so why does it matter? Number one, my goal is to keep you aware, help you be alert. You should always be aware of your surroundings, right? That's the whole purpose of this deep true crime channel. But some stories should be heard so that you can know this stuff happens, don't let it happen to you. And that's really the story of what we're going to share today that recently happened to a young NFL, which is football, professional football, a young man early in the morning driving under the influence of alcohol. He is now facing a felony DUI. This stuff happens, and truth is, alcohol sometimes makes you think that you're unstoppable, gives you more courage. That's why they call it liquid courage, right? It gives you more courage to take chances. And it sounds like that may have happened to this NFL star. And that's what we're going to be covering today. It is a sad story. Number one, a life was lost. Number two, he is facing some serious charges. Henry Ruggs III, 2020, just last year, first round draft pick out of the University of Alabama football team. They're one of the premier football teams of college out there. Every year, as far back as I could remember, they have been a strong force, always at the top of the rankings. He is a product of this. He played at University of Alabama for 3 years. And now he is in some serious trouble. And this is a sad case, I will say. So Las Vegas Raiders star, now let it be known that even though this report came out yesterday, the Las Vegas Raiders have since released him. He's no longer part of the Las Vegas Raiders after this felony DUI that he is facing. And so he's facing some serious charges after allegedly killing another driver in a DUI crash. And he has hired Robert Durst, defense attorney. If you guys heard, I just reported on the Robert Durst trial where he was facing the trial of a friend that he allegedly killed, 20 years ago or something. It was a long time ago that he killed her. And so he has hired this defense attorney. He's hired this defense attorney to help him with this big problem that he now faces. And so the star receiver the former star wide receiver for the Las Vegas Raiders, he is in big trouble over a collision that left one person dead yesterday morning in the early hours, 3:30 a.m. So according to the Las Vegas Metro Police Department, the crash occurred around 3:30 a.m. and first responders were on the scene within 9 minutes of that. They were there about 3:39 a.m. in response to this collision in the Sin City. Las Vegas is known as the Sin City. And so the incident involved a Chevrolet Corvette and a Toyota Rav4. And so according to the Las Vegas Metro Police Department, they said in a series of tweets, fire department personnel responded and located a deceased victim inside the Toyota. The preliminary investigation indicates the front of the Chevrolet collided with the rear of the Toyota. So he must have been going so fast and didn't slow down in time, and he hit the rear of the Toyota. And so this Henry Ruggs, he remained on the scene. I will say good for him on that, because there's no added charges from that. But he did show signs of impairment and probably showed signs that, holy mackerel, what just happened here, right? I mean, here's the truth. If he knew something this dumb was about to happen, I'm sure he wouldn't have done it. But that's the thing with alcohol. It makes you lose your judgment for a little while. I know I've done stupid things under the influence of alcohol that I have a scar because of it, right? Alcohol makes you do dumb things. You learn from it. Granted, I've never been in something this heinous, but you learn from these things, and hopefully you learn before something bad happens. And so this 22-year-old, he is super young, and now he's facing big problems. And so he was transported to a nearby hospital and he was treated for non-life-threatening injuries, but he is now charged with a DUI resulting in death. So, And so the Raiders have released him. They have released him. They're not, they did. Once these charges came to fruition, they moved on. They literally moved on. And so attorney, he shared, on behalf of our client, Henry Ruggs III, we are conducting our own investigation as of this writing, and ask everyone to reserve judgment until all the facts are gathered. Was he not drunk? Here's the truth. Attorneys are going to sound super professional, and they're going to try to make it not seem as bad as it is. That's why he is there. That's why they're his defense attorney. And so he has two attorneys, David Chesnoff and Richard Skonfeld. And so they both shared, these are some high-profile criminal defense lawyers. And many celebrities have used these defense attorneys over the years, including for New York real estate heir Robert Durst. And so this is where it's, when they represented Robert Durst, this was over the 2000 execution-style murder of Susan Berman. And Robert Durst was convicted and sentenced to prison. So they still hired him. You still want someone to, represent you, right? But under Silver State law, this is in Las Vegas, a DUI that results in a substantial bodily harm or a death qualifies as a level B felony offense. This is the second most serious felony in Nevada. So if convicted, he could be facing up to a maximum sentence of 20 years. Now, my guess is he won't serve 20 years. He might have a plea deal. This is still a developing story, as this just happened yesterday. But here is the truth. A life has been lost. And so I'm not judging his heart. I'm sure he feels terrible, but these actions were not good. And especially if he did seem impaired when they got there. And so that's where there's some news coverage on it, and I want to share with you a little of that. Share a little of that. Let's start there from the beginning. So you can see a little of the news coverage around the area when there goes the car there. You can see the car there. That's terrible. It's terrible. And I'm guessing that might be the Rav4 or it doesn't quite look like a Chevrolet Corvette. Or does it? Is that the Corvette? Not too sure. But that's a little bit of it. Let's see if I can get something else here. Let's stop that. Let's see here. Let's see if we can see a little more of that. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Today, people. Gee, my Nelly. I'm pressing on that. It's not going. So here is a little bit, kind of a closer look at it. Okay, so that's the RAV4 to the left, and that's the Corvette to the right. You can see a much better picture here. I can't make it bigger for some reason. I don't know why that's not letting me make it bigger there. But you can see that's a terrible crash. Literally, that's a terrible crash. Let's see if I can make this a little... I don't know what's going on now. Okay. Well, maybe not. But that's what you can see of it. You can see that is a terrible crash. You never want to see anything like that happen. I don't. I mean, my heart goes out to the victim there, and rest in peace. I don't know if there's been a name released on it. So far, no information has been released about the deceased individual as of yesterday. We'll have to look into it today. But Ruggs, he was selected 12th overall in 2020. And he had a promising career. He was off to a good start. And here he is. Poor judgment. And again, we're humans. We make these mistakes, and sometimes they're costly mistakes. Sometimes they are costly mistakes that cause a bigger problem that we may have never even imagined would be that would turn into that, right? I don't know if he was speeding. I don't know, there's more to come out. And Ruggs, he was driving the Corvette. Obviously, he's got a lot of money, they drive in style. But at this time, we don't know, was he speeding really fast? Because he hit the RAV4 in the back, which means he was either speeding real quick. But again, we'll know more after more of this actually comes out. And so it is confirmed that the Chevrolet driver was Henry Ruggs because he stuck around, he remained on the scene, and that was a smart thing because he would have just had more charges if he did not stick around, right? So hopefully he's, we'll see what comes out. I don't think he'll spend 20 years in prison, even if he is found guilty. I just don't think that he will spend 20 years in prison. He's hiring great defense attorneys that, you generally hire the best because they are the best. And so my guess is he hired them because they're the best and they're going to help him. Granted, I'm guessing he will be guilty of, he will be found guilty of something. I just don't know what that something is. And so will he spend any time in prison? We will only find out, because the maximum sentence to this is 20 years. I don't think he'll spend 20 years, but he may spend some time in prison. It remains to be seen. Again, when you have the best attorneys, it helps you not have to deal with the worst possible scenario around the conviction. But he's definitely guilty of something. Maybe he's going to take a plea deal. Maybe he's going to admit to, I was driving drunk. I hit her. I caused the harm on this. And so only more will remain to be seen. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. That is the updated case around Henry Ruggs III. And Henry, I get it. You made a big mistake. Now you're going to have to pay for that big mistake. I honestly believe, obviously, if you were impaired, you hit it from the back. How does that happen? Generally, when you hit someone from the back, you're in the fault. So, were you speeding? We're going to find out. We will find out. I'm Manny Rodriguez. Thank you for joining me this morning. I hope you have a great day. My whole goal is to help you stay on top of what you need to know, not only because it's in the news, But hey, we're humans. We make mistakes. And when the more you know, the better prepared you can be to not make these mistakes, right? You know, it's going to happen, but the quicker you attack it, the quicker you will avoid doing it. But you got to know, what are you capable of? You know, I was just watching I watch a lot of, I was binge watching on See No Evil. I love to get ideas on cases. And there was one case where two roommates went out for their last day of, hey, we're no longer going to be roommates. Let's go out and celebrate. They went to a bar and, you know, they walked there because it wasn't too far from home, and they didn't want to drive because they knew they were going to get drunk, right? So they were doing the responsible thing, but the girl left a little earlier and someone followed her from there who they were hanging out with, and he murdered her. And so you try to be responsible, but you want to be careful at the same time, right? And that's what this deep true crime show is about. So please, if that sounds like something that interests you, smash that subscribe button, hit that like, and hey, if you click on that little bell, YouTube will notify you when I upload fresh content. I'm Manny Rodriguez. Thank you for being a part of this show today, and I look forward to serving you again. Peace